Hello, this is Daryl Pillsbury, and I'm sitting here today with Representative Valerie Stuart from District 1 of Brattleboro. And welcome, Valerie, to the show.
Thank you very much.
We thought we would, it's getting close to the end of the session, and you being the new legislature, we thought we'd get you in here. And my first question, Val, is what was being new, the freshman, what was it like for you?
Incredibly, incredibly exciting. You know, just to be in that beautiful building with so many dedicated people who are really interested in making a difference and changing things for the better. It's just really exciting. It's something I've always wanted to do, and it's just a thrilling time to be there, and a thrilling time to be there as a Democrat. You know, I'm thrilled that Peter Shumlin is governor, and I'm working with all sorts of really wonderful people, so it's great.
And being that it's your first year, when you walk into that building the first, hey, what seat number are you, by the way?
I'm seat number 31.
31? Now, that's a process in its own self, you know, getting your number.
Yeah.
Were you one of the early freshmen that was called, or were you kind of
I
like
actually
late?
was kind of later in the game, but it worked out well because I love my seat mate, Michelle Cooper-Smith. She's
Oh,
just,
yeah.
you know,
she
Michelle,
is good. Yeah.
she is great, and she's just really wonderful. And Helen Head, who is the...
Oh, yeah, Helen's still there, too.
Do you remember
Good.
Helen?
Yes.
Yeah, so Helen's the head of government ops,
Yep.
and Michelle is on commerce and economic development, and she's a real sharpshooting lawyer. You know, she knows the ropes. She's
Yeah, she
been
does.
there. I think this is her third term, so it's really, really great. And I got a seat kind of near the front in the second row. The
I
second
know right
row
where 32
back.
is.
Yeah.
Because 32 was Sarah, or not Sarah, one of us was Don Webster, was
Oh,
seat 32
he was?
when he was first there.
Oh.
Yep, so, because I was 22, so you were right across from me.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Now, were you a bit nervous when you said you wanted to do this then? So this is something you've always been interested in.
Yeah, I've always been interested in it. I actually wasn't that nervous. I mean, you know, I worked in New York City for 14 years. I've worked here for 17 years. You know, I've done a lot of different things, I mean, that, you know, gave me a good feel for the landscape. Plus, when we first moved here, just shortly thereafter, in 95, 96, I worked for Mike Obuchowski, Speaker of the House.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
Yeah, so I had been up there working with Obi.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And we had done it. I did not know that you had already. So you had a little bit of feel anyway, and so you knew what it was like. That's cool.
Yeah.
And now you are on the education committee.
I'm on
Was
the
that your first choice?
It wasn't my first choice, but to tell you the truth, I went up to the speaker a day after I got the assignment, and I said, you know, Shap, even though it wasn't my first choice, he actually put me on an ideal committee for me. My other two were commerce and agriculture, two areas I'm very, very interested in as well, and have some experience in, especially with the agricultural piece, the strolling of the heifers and buy local and all that. I've worked on
But
a lot.
you can still be very active. You just don't get to sit right in on the committee stuff.
Exactly, and it's right across. Agriculture and commerce are right on the same.
That's right. You're in the same area.
Yeah, and Carolyn Partridge, who's
Are you still the first in that hallway? Are you the first on the right, the big room on the right?
We're actually the second on the left.
Oh, they moved you.
They did, yeah. Actually, we can play. It's one of the smallest committee rooms.
That's right. I was going to say, I can't believe you went from the big one to a little dinky one.
Oh, God. I
can't believe Joey Donovan's your chair, you said? I can't believe she gave up that room.
I bet she didn't willingly.
No, I'm sure she didn't. Because now, is across this hall from you, is it still institutions?
Yes.
Yeah, that was mine, and we're small too, and believe me, it was awful.
Oh, well, the joke, and Joey keeps looking across, institutions actually got a revamp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it looks a lot nicer, paint job, whatever, but our committee room is small, that's the main.
And that is a problem. I don't know if the discussion of State House expansion has been around there because there is no money anymore.
I have not heard it.
We've talked about it when I was there on a couple of different sessions, and it really needs to be done, but it's not one of the things that's going to happen because there's no money.
Not in this economy, no.
And it's too bad.
Yeah.
So you're on the education committee. Can you just, well, it sounds to me like you really liked it.
I love it. You know, both of our children, it's actually really great. Our daughter is on her way to college next year, Daryl.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm really excited for
Yeah,
her.
it's an exciting time.
It's an incredibly exciting time for everybody. And then our son's already in college, so it's actually the perfect time. Part of the reason I didn't continue doing it is just, you know, my husband is very, very busy, and you know, my kids and my family came first. So it's the perfect time in my life. You know?
And that is good, because when your mind is there, then that's a good. What happened to me was family got in, you know, things happen. And I was at the perfect time when I started. It was great. My kids were still young. It was hectic, but I wanted to do it, and it was a great thing. Now, how's John holding out with you gone during the week?
He's fine. He's fine.
Does he go out to eat a lot now?
He does. He goes out to eat a lot, but he loves to eat out. So that's
so do I.
Yeah.
But so do you. You know, when you're up there, you do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Have you noticed when you do go out now? I don't know which crowds you hang out with, but there's always the certain. You know, everybody's got this little group.
Yeah.
And you go out a lot, and you discuss. You learn a lot.
You do learn a lot. Yeah,
In the
breakfast,
dinner hour.
lunch, and dinner. I mean, you do learn a lot, and it's important because things move so fast and furious, as you know, that it's really important to, you know, take every minute.
And when you're in committee, it's committee. You're so focused on what's going on.
You just feel like an information, you know, just like a processor kind of, because it just, but it's, I love that. I've always been kind of an information wonk, so, I mean, that doesn't.
I'm just curious, is Duncan Kilmartin on the education committee still?
No, I'm not sure what he's on. He might be on judiciary, but
Oh, yeah, no, that would be his other one. Okay, I was just curious because he was, he's a Republican and a very conservative one. And I was just wondering how.
We hear a lot from him. He is. He is amendment after amendment.
Yes, that's what he does.
Yeah, that is what he does.
So, what was a big issue or a bill that you passed this year?
Well, one really exciting bill that we passed out of the House, and it's now in the Senate, is we passed a bill that mandates that new principals have mentors. One of our key priorities, Daryl, is to narrow the achievement gap, which, as you may or may not be aware, is basically based on poverty. And like in Windham County here, we have a 45–50% price reduced or free lunch. And anyway, the achievement gap is, you know, basically children are not doing as well as they should, and a lot of the children who are in that category are children of poverty. So what we want to do, one of our committee's top priorities is to narrow the achievement gap, and to answer your question, what we found out is that good principals equal good schools equal student achievement, because a good principal, like a good father or mother, you know, stands outside the school, sees the children come in, oh, this kid looks hungry, that kid looks tired, this kid looks like they really have something that's upsetting them, maybe they should go to the guidance counselor. So what we found out is that good principals, you know, can really change the achievement gap, can narrow it at school. So we passed a principal mentoring bill. It's, you know, that old saying, it's lonely at the top?
Yeah.
And that is true of a company or a nonprofit or, you know, a school. And so a lot of principals, they rise through the ranks, and then all of a sudden they're at the top and they need a lot of support. So what it is any principal who's been on the job 2 years or less will have a mentor, and that mentor will basically help them troubleshoot all of the many demands that consume every day. You know, they have to meet with parents, and they have to meet with...
Oh, it's amazing what people don't have any clue
what
a principal's job has now
don't.
become. Even a teacher, to be honest with you. I mean, when I went to school, the teachers taught. Today, it's a totally different ballgame.
Well, you know, schools are handling a lot of social
yes, they are.
things that families used to handle. But we heard from, actually, Daryl, it was so sweet. We heard from the principal of the year, who's from a school up north, and he just told us about how he stands outside the door every day, and he ushers this kid in. He's like the guardian angel of the school. And when impoverished kids or kids from troubled families feel supported, they do better. They just do better. You know,
well,
moral
it's good
support.
that he's out there. And not only that, now, I know Mark Spino in Vernon does that.
And, he does.
And it's and so did the principal that he replaced, because when I bring the grandkids there, they're all standing outside. They know everybody's name. It just feels more of a friendly, hey, welcome to my home. You
That's
know, type of thing.
exactly it.
So, well, that's
it
good.
feels like home. So the principal mentoring bill, we passed that because we really feel like that's a way that doesn't cost a lot of money. Actually, the money for that actually comes out of existing funds in the school. So it's not new money. It's money that's already there. And then basically, we heard a lot of testimony that said this is the way to go. This is the way. The other thing is, a lot of principals, it's somewhat of a revolving door. And a revolving door means instability and too much change in a school, which is not good. And also it costs money to, hire
That's
and
right, the hiring
re-advertise.
process, yeah.
So it really was, at the end of the day, we think it'll save money, help improve children's test scores, and just be a win-win all around.
Well, let's hope that happens because that's what we hope for when we do this stuff.
Abs-
And the amount of information you get, isn't it incredible?
Yeah, it
how
really
much
is.
stuff you get.
It's amazing.
It is amazing,
Yeah.
and trying to keep it all up there. I mean, holy mackerel! Because
Yeah.
you go on. I picked institutions because it was the nuts and boltsy type of thing, and I thought I could relate to it better.
Yeah.
And wow, when you just get into the state agencies and all the stuff that has to happen.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, I've heard that's a great one. Sarah Edwards told me that's a great one because you learn everything that's happening in the building.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I loved it because it was also a money committee.
Right, right.
It was one of the two.
Right.
And when I first got there, now
Right.
they don't do this practice, but when I first got there,
Right.
we had, it was called the pork, we had a couple of, we had a little cash that we could get rid of for projects in the state, which I loved because people would come before you with their projects.
And you could really...
And you could really help, and I loved doing that. Now we do it a different way. Now there's a committee,
Interesting.
which is cool. Well, what do you think for next year? What's big on your radar for next year's, in the committee, education committee?
and
Because
then-
you've got a lot of other issues that you guys are dealing with.
No
this year.
doubt. And then our first priority that we voted on as a committee, we determined as a group, was narrowing the achievement gap.
Yeah.
And I just talked about the principal mentoring bill that we passed to help narrow that learning gap. And then the other one was education governance. And we actually passed out of our committee a bill that gives the governor the power to appoint,
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
with the advice and consent of the Senate, Secretary of Education. So we're changing that paradigm, I guess you'd
What
say.
were the okay?
And
Because for me, I wasn't really sure how I feel about that issue.
Yeah.
And that's one of them ones where if I was sitting on the committee, I would have went in there on
Right.
this one,
Right.
not really sure.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of information.
It's controversial.
It's very well, yeah, and it's
a
probably
big
another one of them
change.
partisan line things.
Well, yeah, it's although it was a unanimous vote. I mean, there was one person
that's
absent.
okay. I was going to say because I got to
But-
tell you, when Douglas was in,
Yes.
okay, he
Yeah.
wanted to do that.
He
all right?
testified before us, and
Yeah.
he said he definitely wanted that.
That's what he wanted, and then the Democrats
Yes.
didn't want it.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I find, because now you guys are in charge, and now we're going to get it.
Sure.
And it's like, I've seen so many different things where that happens, where all of a sudden, it's not just the person that flip-flops, it's
Right.
the whole party stance that flip-flops.
Right.
And that happens. So what were some of the key sticking points?
Well, I think the key sticking point that people worry about, understandably, is that education could become politicized.
Yeah.
But the problem, education is
Isn't it
already
already?
politicized. I mean, look at the federal government having passed No Child Left
Yes.
Behind, which, by the way, the first thing I did on the House floor was introduce a joint Senate-House resolution that basically says that the punitive sanctions associated with, it's called Nickelby, NCLB, would be suspended until Nickelby is basically evaluated, and because the punitive sanctions are really, they were hurting a number of our Brattleboro schools. We actually had one principal in the elementary schools who was going to actually lose his job, and he was a good principal, but the problem is Nickelby,
Oh, right.
because if you have a high number of children with disabilities who are poor, these standards that, the Bush administration passed are virtually impossible for a school to achieve.
And we have a lot in Brattleboro
Totally
just because
unfair.
of where we are. We're the hub for the southern area, and
Yes.
the services and stuff we have
Yes.
are geared for folks like that. So we have them,
Absolutely.
and I'm okay with all that. But you got to put that in your equation somewhere.
Yeah, so I worked with
Oh,
a
good.
constituent who's on the Brattleboro Town School Board, very good activist constituent named David Scholes, and
Yep.
David basically and I worked on it, and we put together this resolution.
Was this
and,
just your thing, or did it come through the committee?
and it came through the committee. It had to be, I introduced it in the committee, and then the
Okay.
committee had to vote on it and
Yeah,
approve
okay,
it.
so it did come
and
out
then
as a committee vote.
It
then.
came out as a committee vote.
Was this your
and-
first time you had stood up on the House
Yeah.
floor? What was that? Because now
Yeah.
there's another thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing, your
Yeah.
first time, you stand
Yeah.
up there, there's everybody's looking at
Yeah.
you. How was that?
And that was fine. I think I did a pretty good job. A lot of it is procedural, and
Yes.
there's a certain way that you
Yep.
report a bill and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
that I had to learn, but it wasn't difficult to learn. And, people said I did a very good job. So, I think.
There's the rules in the little book they give you. Well,
Yeah.
you might not have a hard copy yet, but you'll get one at the end
Yeah.
of the session. There's a little hard, and it's got the rules.
Okay.
And it's good to sit there
and
and
study
learn
those.
those rules.
I know.
Because, boy, I tell you, the ones who knew the rules, and you got a couple of real good ones in there that
David
know the
Dean
rules.
is fabulous.
He's-
Dick
yeah,
Merrick,
he-
they're
yeah,
my
yeah,
go-to
yeah,
guys.
those
If
guys
I have
are-
a question, they know it upwards and forwards.
Well, David has been on the Rules Committee probably forever.
Yes. And
You know,
I went to, whenever I could, every Friday morning at 8 o'clock, he holds a rules review for a
Yeah.
half hour. So I went to that, and that was really,
that's excellent.
and I know that. If you know the rules, you know
You're
how to play
golden.
the game.
That's right,
Yeah.
because to get to know because there's a lot of stuff that,
It's-
you're sitting there and you're on the floor and you're talking, all of a sudden somebody jumps up and says, out of order or whatever, and why, and so it's
Exactly.
nice to know, and it's nice to be one of the people that can catch people, so you can say that.
Exactly. So back to the education governance thing, though, Daryl. The thing about it is that I think people, the people who were proponents of this,
Yeah.
we said Douglas was, and we heard from a number of the current commissioner as well as past commissioners who were all for it. And part of it is just, to give education a voice statewide. And we're very clear that it's crystal clear, Vermont, what is really great about our schools is people take great pride and ownership and are involved, and the whole local thing. So we have to figure out a way to push the local voice up through the state board to the governor's office. And there were a number of people, including Martha O'Connor, a former state board member.
Right, long time
who,
board.
so she was on the state board for many years,
And she was for it.
and she was for it.
Wow.
Interestingly, and had a number of reasons why, and then interestingly, Stephen Morse, who has been on the state board for not as long, is not a proponent. And it was interesting because Stephen said that, counter to his own, usually like a business would be set up so that the CEO would have the power to appoint whomever, and obviously the governor is the parallel of that in state government. So he said it was kind of counterintuitive for him, but he didn't feel like it was a good idea. So you had people who you didn't expect to. I would have maybe thought those two would have.
I would have, if you would have asked me, I would have said the same thing. See, you just never know.
So it's a pretty, and I've checked in with our people here. Ron Staley is not for it, and I understand that. And I see, why, I can understand why people are.
Well, it's the change. It's the old,
Right,
it's
right.
a change
It's
too,
a
and
big
people are
change.
getting nervous about change
But
too.
all of the others have, basically they have secretaries.
Yeah.
There's a secretary of the Human Services,
Yeah, that's
secretary
right.
of Transportation, secretary of Agriculture. I mean, education is so important. And the thing is, in this state, some people are worried about, every 2 years a governor. Well, governors don't turn over that quickly. I mean,
That's right.
the average governor is here
Seriously.
for a while. It's very hard to beat an incumbent, as you well know.
Yeah.
So we just feel like, but to give you a little more detail on it, so what this bill is it's by, January 1st of 2012, Yeah, January, that's right. January or July, I might have those dates mixed
Yeah, they
up.
probably want it before the next session.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's probably January.
It's January. Okay, but we're going to basically have a study committee work on the responsibilities of the state board and the DOE, the Department of Education. The Department of Education is down by half staff-wise, and we're beginning to wonder, like, what is the state board doing to help?
Yeah.
And, you know, not just help, but who's doing what. And we're really looking at, could things be done differently and better, still keep that local voice, that local control.
And
But
it wouldn't grow that sector. I mean, all of a sudden they becoming more involved in the government. Would we need more people to
No,
be liaisons?
I don't think so. A lot of what we see it is a strong voice from the top that here are the values of the state vis-a-vis education. And there's a lot of talk about Vermont being the education state because we have so many wonderful community colleges, state colleges.
But I tell you, we should rate pretty good, in my opinion. Number one, we do pay a pretty good dollar for our education.
We pay a lot.
And we are number one. I don't know if we still are. You would know this maybe.
Right.
But at 4 years ago, we were number one in teacher-pupil ratio.
Right.
You know, which you pay for that.
You pay for that, but you also get, we're in the top 5 of schools performance.
That's right. So I don't mind as long as you're staying right there. I mean,
yeah, you get what you pay for. We're paying for it, but we're getting a very good quality education. We have excellent. So
now, what are some of the big ones for you? What are you going to have to start focusing on? Because you're going to, let's see, your target date is the 7th, which you won't hit, of May. If you do, that'd be something. So what's a big issue for you for next year that you see coming up? Just one.
One is, but we may polish it off this year. I'm not really sure. You know, sometimes you think things are going to move more quickly than they do. But cyberbullying is a big thing that we're working on because we have a good harassment law, but we don't have a good cyberbullying law. And the whole sticking point on cyberbullying is what happens outside of the school walls, off hours, after hours. Is that within the purview of the school in terms of, I guess punishment is the only word for the
I'm not so sure on that one, but you know that's one where you got to sit in a committee, you got to listen to all the testimony. Maybe they change your mind because my first instinct is, come on, you guys, but yeah, it is such an issue.
Right.
We got to do something.
Well, the thing about it is,
kids' lives,
and it affects how they receive their education. Because if you're being bullied on Facebook or wherever constantly, and you go to school, you know, it shatters your self-esteem.
Hey, I was bullied. I was a very small kid in school, and this one guy hated my guts. I took a different route to school just to avoid him. It was awful. Now, as I grew up and got bigger, and he didn't, things changed. But I mean, I remember that, and it was. It stunk, and you didn't want to tell anybody because you didn't want to be a wuss, you know, and oh my God, so I had to do my own little thing. It stunk. So bullying is, and if you are out there and you are a bully, stop it.
Yeah.
You know, really, come on, let's all get it makes kids, it's a power trip for kids even. They just like the idea of putting some other, but it's awful.
It's terrible. So what,
well, good luck on that one.
What we found is that, you know, it does impact on the students' education. You know, then sometimes the kids don't want to go to school because they want to avoid the conflict or the intimidation. So we're going to figure that one out, and you know, I'm checking in with teachers, and I checked in with Ron Staley, our superintendent, Ingrid Crisco, the principal of BAMS, Brattleboro Area Middle School. So we're gonna get that one figured out. It's too important. I mean, there have been horrible incidents nationwide where bullying has led to suicide, has led to horrendous things, which are just unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. So, I mean, and I wonder how somebody has got to feel after you bullied somebody so badly that they killed themselves. And if you're a 16-year-old kid, 17, 15, whatever you are, that's still, even if you are the bully, I got to believe that's going to affect you someday, even down the road. Someday. I mean, come on. Well, good luck on that one.
So that's a really exciting, interesting.
And then once the session ends, you're going to find that you really work a lot. You know, everybody thinks that we're a part-time legislature, you're done when the session ends, but boy, that's when you really got to start. You got to go to all these meetings.
Yeah.
This is when you have time to catch your breath and start talking about issues you know are going to come up.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're really busy when you're up there. People don't realize how.
Yeah, no, it's pretty hard driving
yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah.
information.
And you're in a committee that works.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's some up there, they all work. But
Right.
there's some you see that aren't in committee as much as you are.
Right.
Because they don't have, I
Right.
knew when the speaker's giving you the bills,
Yeah.
you're on the floor, and they judiciary, education, commerce, judiciary, education, institutions hardly got any, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and now let's explain to folks a bill on the wall.
Oh, a bill on the
I
wall.
mean, do you have a bill that's going to just sit?
You know, I'm trying to think of, we've taken a lot of them off the wall and heard testimony and, you know, decided
Yeah,
to
and
table
then you move
them.
it from there to here, but you haven't really got into there
Yeah,
yet.
exactly.
So you got because you got to have a wall full already.
Yeah, no, we have a wall full, and we've heard testimony on a lot of them.
And that is something.
Even if it's just the presenter of the bill hearing about that, and then but
Wow, our half hour's almost up.
oh, is it?
Wow,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
went by fast.
Yeah.
Okay, really quick.
Yes.
What's your take on the Vermont Citizens Legislature?
Oh, I think it's really wonderful. I think it keeps, you know, the values of Vermont alive, and you know, the commitment to local communities. And what I think is really great is it brings a wide variety of talents and backgrounds together, which I think is the best way to. I mean, I'm married to an attorney. He's wonderful, but you know, maybe part of the problem we have in Washington is too many attorneys and too many.
I thought that when I went to the Vermont Legislature.
Oh, you
How
did?
many of them do you think there were up there? I counted 25 when I was there.
You know, in the
I'm like, oh my God. And the other part that bugged me was the joke up there was, well, we got to get 3 hours of billing in. And I'm sitting here going, geez, I wish I could get 3 hours of something in. I tell you. But saying that, it was very nice to have them on a committee because there's stuff that you just need to know the legal ramifications.
Yeah. Someone told me there aren't that many in the House.
Wow, good. Well, they're all in the Senate now.
Well, but and I don't even. Anyway, some actually one of the people in leadership, he told me there are only 10. I don't know if he was referring to the House specifically or the House and the Senate. I think he said in this building. So if that is
I can
indeed
name
true.
about 6 right off the bat, but that you got there.
So
but
maybe
I mean,
he
it's
meant
and you do need them. And I just thought, because when you look back at the old history, you had a lot of housewives and farmers. Now you got a lot of lawyers. 2 minutes left. Okay, we got 2 minutes. So I'm going to do one more thing. Hey, did they do the Taste of Vermont yet?
Oh yeah, that was great.
Isn't that wicked?
That was a highlight.
Oh my God, that's when I wanted to go visit.
Yeah, that was
that
great.
Thing is awesome.
Everyone was like, "Don't miss
You don't miss this one.
And
Well, that's the other thing. You have a lot, especially being a freshman, you probably went to a lot of them.
Yeah.
You learn as you go.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't go to that one this year.
Yeah, you pick and choose.
Because I imagine all your lunches, you were heading down there and going to the Capitol Plaza, going to the...
Right. Yeah. No, really.
It's a very adrenaline-pumping whole thing.
Yeah. No, it's very exciting.
We got 1 minute left. Say whatever you'd like to tell the people listening or watching.
I'm just thrilled to be serving, and I'm really very excited to hear your thoughts on any issue. I'm on the Education Committee, but I'm also interested in all the other committees' work, and you know, I'm here to serve. So I hope people will contact me. I really love Vermont. I really care about you know, our schools. I really care about increasing jobs. I really care about keeping a clean, green environment, and I really care about protecting the agricultural landscape of Vermont. So those are my top 5, and but I would love to hear from you, and I'm really proud to be a part of the Vermont legislature.
Well, Val,
thanks
a lot for
very
serving.
much.
And I'm glad you liked your first year. We'll get you on again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this show. A little bit of update what's going on. You get to see one of your representatives hard at work. And hope you enjoy this. Catch us next month when we come back again with another legislature. Next month we're going to have Representative Sarah Edwards on. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Daryl Pillsbury along with State Representative Valerie Stuart. You have a good day. Thanks an awful lot, Joe, and thank you, BCTV, for putting this on.